Okay, hi everybody, and welcome. Sorry, we're a little bit late this morning, but welcome to our next CIA Live. Vanessa, I have Agent 55, Vanessa Guazzelli Paim with me. Vanessa, we just need to see your video if we can. There we go, here she is. Welcome, Agent 55. How are you?
Thank you. Hello. Good, good. Very happy to be here.
Good, good, good. So Vanessa, I have to introduce you because she's a very special agent. Some of you might know, well, will know this already, but Agent 55 is like running the sister website for the English CIA, Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and Vanessa started, is it a year ago? It's about a year ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a year. Yeah.
Yes. So she started the Portuguese Spanish website for all our Portuguese Spanish speakers and listeners. With about how many agents have you got over there at the moment?
Around 10 at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic. So doing a great job. So we will put a link to Agencia, it's called, and you know they've got some great articles of their own and following the same template in a sense as the main page CIA, but it's a really great incentive. So you're very special, Agent 55. Thank you for doing that, because as we know, it's all about extra work, and there's a lot involved with it all, as we know. So I've invited Vanessa on today because we're going to, Vanessa, since we've known each other for a few years, we met live last year in Los Angeles at a conference. But since then, before then, we got to know each other, and I know that she has done a lot of work with Black Moon Lilith. And I think she's in the process of writing a book. And those of you that have been following Vanessa's writings on our page, she's written for every sort of ingress of Black Moon Lilith into a different sign. And I have to say I've learned so much from Vanessa in that time about Black Moon Lilith, my own Black Moon Lilith, which is in Sagittarius, which of course, where she is now. So I really look forward to what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce a few things first because, you know, here we are, it's Friday morning for me in Australia, it's Thursday night for Vanessa. We're in eclipse week. We've had a big, we're in eclipse season. There's a lot of, let's say, something we talked about last week was the hot air that's around. You know, there's a Golden Fire Trine in the midst. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of trepidation about what's going to happen. And that's what happens with fire. There's a lot of fire energy around until it's grounded into something. We don't know, you know, exactly how things are going to sort of pan out, let's say. You know, so how's it been for you? I mean, I've had a few things over the week, like emergency readings. People's, you know, timing around eclipses is like quick shifts, quick changes, big decisions that need to be made, like things are revealed during eclipse time, you know, like the light shines a different way in a sense and things are revealed. So it's like, oh my gosh, I've just found out something that, you know, I never knew about my father or my brother or my partner or what have you, and that's all around. So a few friends of mine and clients have had those situations. What about for yourself?
And yes, this is a period that we have, that it's such an opportunity to go beyond pattern as well, but they also come up. So they come up to be acknowledged, and at the same time, it's like this moment of really that we can cross into another dimension in our lives in some aspects, no? So they're always more intense, and they can feel kind of awkward and like dealing with such a sense of being kind of weird and not really connected to reality or a different sense of reality. So people get more moved, but it's also an opportunity to really to be able to conceive reality in a different way. And this is very interesting about eclipse season. I like it very much because of that.
Yeah, it is. It's like make the most of it, you know, what's happening to you. I mean, I think as we're moving into this, well, we are in the season, as I said, Mercury goes retrograde this weekend, as we know. So I'm just going to share my screen for a little bit just to allow you all to see just a few things in regard to, and this is, I'm sure that Vanessa, you're going to have some contact details for yourself after this. I haven't put them on, but this is how we say Vanessa's name, so you know who she is. And of course, I'm Agent 12. But yeah, the fire energy, I mean, even I think it's really interesting because for those of us that are right on in touch with Game of Thrones at the moment, it's almost like the you know, what's being played out there may as well be, you know, the real life story, and it's just more interesting to watch, isn't it? So the dragons being such a big part of the Game of Thrones story, and you know, without giving anything away, it's just so suitable for what's going on with the hot air of, you know, missile threats and that type of thing, you know, riding around in our sky. So with what I see with Mercury going retrograde this weekend during this Grand Fire Trine, it's the reality that sort of helps us or makes us realize to sort of slow down, don't panic, keep calm. You know, Mercury's in Virgo and will be going back to Leo. So you know, refocus ourselves during this time. And so the combination of Mercury retrograde, the eclipse season, and this grand fire energy is very much a refocusing about where we're heading as a collective, and also as, of course, in our personal lives. So in this chart, this is set for the eclipse that's coming up August 21st, 22nd, depending on where you are. But of course, the big date is August the 21st for over the USA. And we've talked about that a lot already, so I won't get into it too much. But as we can see, I've just highlighted the Grand Fire Trine here. With the eclipse, the sun and the moon in Leo at 28 degrees 52, trine to Uranus very closely, which we talked about last week. Linda Hill mentioned that Uranus is on the degree of the music of the spheres, so being very important for astrologers. The music of the spheres, that's what we do. You know, we bring down the music, you know, to make sense of it, so to speak. And that's a really interesting time frame, because as we know, and some exciting things happening with, you know, some of us will know Wade Caves and his sort of this big article that he wrote about the eclipses and Trump and so on, a very detailed article, has got the limelight in Newsweek and a few really big, you know, news channels. So without sort of dissing astrology and that type of thing. So, you know, let's be proud and confident, everyone out there that's astrologers doing great work, to be bringing this kind of information to people to help them understand the times, you know. So, and then of course, what we're going to talk about today, that I'll put you over to Vanessa in a minute, is Saturn and the Black Moon Lilith conjunct in Sagittarius. Again, really great topic, because not a lot of people have been talking about that. Although, just briefly, Black Moon Lilith is a representative of what our deep urges rising from deep down. You know, visceral is the word that Vanessa uses all the time. So visceral feelings, you know, coming up from deep down. So how is that sort of playing out in this Grand Fire Trine? And as we can see, that the culmination point is is Jupiter in Libra. So, you know, that's like the head of the kite, you know, what's flying this kite, held by Eris and Uranus. That's pretty unstable. It's kind of like, you know, where's this kite going? But with Jupiter ahead, we have to believe in the future. We have to believe in the chaos of now as something that is, in a sense, necessary for what it will bring out of this time. So that's just a brief introduction. I'll try and escape out of here so I can put you over to Vanessa. And I hope I don't, hang on, oops. Let me just go back a bit, sorry. Before I do that, I'll just, Mercury's going retrograde on Sunday, depending where you are, Sunday night here for me. So what is Mercury retrograde? Again, a big rethinking on the world stage for sure, a big re-channeling of our own awareness to what's been going on. Okay, so Mercury retrograde starting off in Virgo, culminating with the Sun conjunction after the eclipse on the 26th of August. And thanks for the great graphic, Andrew, if you're watching this, or you will be later. Andrew Smith, who has written a great article for us on the Mercury retrograde cycle this time. So, with Mercury going back to Leo, it reminds us of, getting the details right and then being reminded again of, let's say, the heart of Leo, warming up ourselves and how we do that through this process. So Mercury retrograde playing a big role in this. One thing also that we talked about last week with Linda and Adam was the Mercury retrograde during the most watched eclipse on the planet, which will be this one on the 21st of August over America. What could it bring to, to what's happening over there? And of course, what we know with Mercury retrograde, it can cause havoc with things like traffic, communication, and all those type of things. Now, the things that we thought of course, is traffic jams, not being able to see the eclipse because of weather or smoke. There's a lot of fires in Canada that are sort of coming down, at least on the west coast over America. Then we have and also communication jam, because it will be, probably the most photographed, most tweeted, most, whatever eclipse as well. So, be prepared for some chaos in that sort of sense. Maybe not, but, quite usually something like that, that is quite probable. And the other thing that Gemini Brett, as you know, one of our great agents, 1123, noted in one of these eclipse webinars that have been floating around, is that with the eclipse being, of course, the moon eclipsing the sun, and 2 minutes 30 seconds or something of total eclipse, is that because Mercury and Mars are very close to the sun at the time, that during the day people that are watching the eclipse might see Mars and Mercury in the sky. So if you're going to be there and watching it, keep an eye out for that, because that would be amazing. That would be truly incredible. So I'm just going to get out of here for now and stop my share and go back to you, Vanessa. So that's just a quick introduction for what's going on. And so let's head into your take on Black Moon Lilith. I know Vanessa's going to do a bit of an introduction. Some of you might not know what Black Moon Lilith is, but for those of us that have been following her, we definitely use her. We see her as a great big, let's say, important part of astrological work. So over to you, Vanessa. I'm going to turn myself off and look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Julia. So, sharing the screen.
Yes, share screen.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Do you see it now? Can you see?
Yes. Yeah. Make it, the full screen.
Okay. Oh, wait. I just need to
go back.
Yeah, it opened down. Wait, let me just start from where I want to start. Let's see.
We're all getting used to this still, aren't we?
Yeah, really. Because we were looking at it together before. No, yeah, here it is. Okay. So, guys, so as Julia was introducing, no, we have this big fire trine happening this year. Very important one to also, so we have energy, no, to process everything that we need to process at this time in this big moment that we are in humanity. We have some intense earth moments ahead in 2020 especially, but this is a very important fire alchemy moment for us to align ourselves before that. And in this very moment, in this eclipse season, this fire trine is super present, no, super very much there, very close orbs, yeah, very close aspects happening. And one is Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn, exactly on the 22nd, like right after the solar eclipse on the 21st, 22nd, yeah. So just a bit later. So it's already happening. The 1 degree orb starts on the 14th, just in a couple of days, in 4 days. But it's already there. It's already coming together. And the sun is also doing a trine to Black Moon Lilith, starting the exact in 12 hours from now. And being very present during this weekend. We have Sun trine Black Moon Lilith, which is pretty cool. As we talk more about Black Moon Lilith and this moment, you can gather some info to inspire you for the weekend as well. And we have Mars applying. Yeah, Mars is also there at 20 degrees, so it's already already from Leo trining Black Moon Lilith as well. So it's a very fiery moment, though we have some heavy stuff as well going on, of course. One of them is this conjunction. Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn is quite dense, but it's also very important to prepare us as well for the most liberating moment of this transit of Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius altogether. Yeah. So at first we're gonna have a look at what is briefly, what's Black Moon Lilith about? What's Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius? Very important as we are having it since February, 13th of February this year until the 9th of November this year, 9-month period. Yeah, we have Black Moon Lilith mean node in Sagittarius. Then she will go into Capricorn and it's going to be another process. But right now, it's a very crucial moment. And this conjunction that's happening with Saturn, something important to say as well is that it happens, it takes about 12 years, yeah, 12, 13 years to happen. Last time it happened was February of 2005, and it happened in Cancer. 21 degrees of Cancer. And the next time it's going to happen, it's going to be in February of 2030. Yeah. So we have like about 13 years. Yes. For the next conjunction, it's going to be in Taurus. So this one is in Sagittarius. It's always like the next one is about 5 signs ahead in the zodiac. Yeah. Right now we're having the Sagittarius one. Very important. So let's check it out then. What's Black Moon Lilith about? This is her symbol. Now in Sagittarius, the Archer sign. And Black Moon Lilith is the apogee of the moon. It's the point. It's not another astrological concrete point. Yeah, it's not another planet or so, or a satellite like the moon or an asteroid. It's actually a virtual point. It's this point that marks where the moon's apogee is happening at this period. Yeah. So the moon's apogee is the moment when the moon is furthest from the Earth, when it's almost escaping from the Earth's orbit. Yeah. But because of the pull of gravity is when it comes right back close to Earth again. yeah? But it's this moment where it almost escapes and comes right back, yeah? Gravity shows its force at this point. So a relation between Earth and Moon, a question of mass and distance, a question of gravity. Returns every 9 years, yeah, to the same point in the zodiac. It takes 9 days to move 1 degree in the zodiac, and it stays for 9 months in a sign. So 9 months, the period of a pregnancy, yeah, of a gestation, human gestation, yeah. So this also brings another crucial word, a concept related to Black Moon Lilith, which is gestation, pregnancy. And also forming the body, materializing, yeah, like gravity, bringing down to earth. So gravity and pregnancy. In Portuguese, there's an interesting relation about between these words, because they are gravity, gravidade, and pregnancy, gravidez. So it begins with the same root, yeah, grave, like grave, like so, you know, bringing to earth. So it has this this relation, interesting relation, that the Portuguese language also allowed me to look at. So gravity, pregnancy, materializing, forming a body, cellular memory, and viscerality. Yeah. So the visceral impulse of life or death. Death or life, it's very much to do with our survival instinct and our basic drive that actually connects us to our bodies. Yeah, very, very important. And super important in how we actually connect and connect to our bodies and connect our bodies to where we are and what we are doing and how we anchor the experience, yeah, in our actual, like, down to matter, you know, down to the body, down to the actual raw experience, yeah. And Black Moon Lilith in collective transits then speaks of the tone or of what moves the collective deep down inside, points to the instinctive undertone of a particular period, reflects a backdrop behind our words and images at any given moment. So right now, this backdrop is in Sagittarius, yeah? It's a Sagittarius kind of backdrop behind our words and images. We'll look into that in a bit. So it's about what's moving the collective at the visceral level, describing a certain tone, a certain warmth, and associated with collective sensations. In Sagittarius, what's that? So Sagittarius is a mutable fire. Black Moon Lilith in fire signs speaks of a difficulty to ignite, which can then generate a compensation, a violent compensation, or can be channeled into a visceral talent as well. There's a tendency to either have a lack or an excess of self-affirmation, yeah? Which can actually be channeled, be converted into a visceral talent. That's the beauty of Black Moon Lilith. Yeah, that's the sublime aspect of Black Moon Lilith, because it anchors in the body, because it brings down to earth. It's when things really happen in the actual experience, beyond the need to explain or rationalize things. Yeah, so it's a very important level to actually anchor things, and it's crucial, for instance, in art, in self-expression, and for any talent to really be affirmed and expressed. Black Moon Lilith is very important. It's mutable. Sagittarius is a mutable sign. The mutable cross is related to the symbolic dimension, the dimension of culture, language, communication, duality, paradoxes of the human condition, comprehension, in which words and actions operate. So when Black Moon Lilith is there, it's like there's something lacking, yeah, in how words and meanings and actions a lack or a necessity, a visceral necessity for that. Yeah, because there's some kind of lack, something weird going on with that. And then, well, that's when we got into, then converted into something. Yeah, converted creatively. That's an important thing about Black Moon Lilith. It's about converting the destructive impulses into creative moves. Yeah, that's how we actually operate a transformation in our very drives, in our very impulses. So and this I speak about that from experience with Black Moon Lilith, from experience with my patients, with my clients, as my patients as a psychologist, my clients as an astrologer, and myself and the people around me. Black Moon Lilith is really about this point where we find the destructive drive and also the creative drive. And the destructive drive, it needs to be converted in some sort of creative expression. Yeah, then it is life enhancing. So back to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. It's about visceral subtleties regarding law and justice, one's own ethics, because when a person, for instance, has Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, it means that she or he perceives that there's something kind of weird going on with law. Yeah, with law, with justice, with the rules. It's like there's something kind of weird going on, or there's something, it's like they really can perceive when it's like, you know, are people actually walking their talk? Yeah, how much those rules are actually just. Yeah, how just is the law? So it's very much needed for one to be able to obey some kind of law or ethics, to actually have it from the inside out. And then the person can be viscerally driven, yeah, viscerally ethical, in the sense of really owning that from the core, yeah. But it has to make sense, it has to be the real thing for them, yeah, something that's for real. So when that does not happen, when there's just the lack of it, yeah, then that's when we see corruption. But it's also the drive for revolution, to actually, you know, fight for justice in some sort of way. The capacity to then break laws, in the sense of break the unjust laws, capacity to go beyond borders, viscerally beyond limits, a visceral need to go beyond in some sort of way. So it can be expressed, and then it depends where the Jupiter of the person is and where in the chart and stuff. It can be converted into a drive for sports, going beyond through sports, or a drive for knowledge, going beyond through knowledge, an intellectual drive. Yeah, it can also be an international drive, and very, very crucial, taking a stand is a matter of Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, taking a stand for what one believes, but from deep down inside. Yeah, from the core, from the guts. Yeah, what can we actually own and stand for from our guts? And it's about civil disobedience. Yeah, when the law is not just, we are not actually morally obligated to obey if it's not just, if it's not actually right, if it's not respectful. Yeah, to us as human beings, or to other human beings, or to other beings. So the ethics, yeah, it has to be a fire from the inside out. Some examples of natal Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius are Martin Luther King, Deepak Chopra, Susan Sarandon, Audrey Hepburn, UNICEF, Cher, Jane Fonda, David Bell, the creator of Le Parcours, David Bowie, Dante Alighieri, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Helena Blavatsky, Noam Chomsky, Oliver Stone, Carlos Drummond de Andrade, Brazil, the chart of Brazil, The Bricks, Agent 12, Juliet Simas, and the book Civil Disobedience. Also, Rosa Parks Day, yeah, a moment when a civil disobedience act happened by Rosa Parks, and that act actually led to a U.S. Supreme Court decision that declared the Alabama and Montgomery laws requiring segregated buses to be unconstitutional. Yeah, so that black people were not supposed to, give their seats to white people, or to just move to the back of the bus, So she actually dared to stay on her seat, and she kept sitting there, even though a white man came into the bus, and she was sitting in the front seat, and she just sat there. And then she was arrested and stuff, but with that move, and then released later, but with that whole move, with that act of civil disobedience, she actually managed to change the law, yeah, with some support of other people. But it took her courage, yeah, her stand. So, Civil Disobedience, a book by Henry David Thoreau. Very, very interesting and very timely now with Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius and everything that we can see for ourselves going on in the world. And that book inspired Martin Luther King as well, who also affirmed, as the book does, he also affirmed that one has a moral responsibility to disobey an unjust laws. He also said, there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take it because conscience tells him it is right. And that's Rosa Parks in The Bus. Another Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius is Oliver Stone, who's been for years, throughout the years with his movies, his documentaries, and his interviews, really working for bringing out the truth about things and to allowing people to actually see for themselves and hear for themselves, like he's done with the Snowden movie. Edward Snowden, giving an opportunity for people to actually get to know his story, yeah. And also now with Vladimir Putin, during the interviews with him, so people can now listen for themselves, can watch the guy and hear the guy, and then take one's own conclusions, So this is like his drive for truth, for actually bringing out the truth. Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, very active one. Susan Sarandon, another example. Also Audrey Hepburn, who was also concerned about her stand in the world, and what she could do for people in the world, later in her life, She dedicated herself a lot to that. And Noam Chomsky, another activist, very active activist, who said popular attitudes, when people just think them, doesn't matter very much. If they're organized, mobilized, energized to do something about it, demonstration, civil disobedience, whatever it might be, then it means something. Then that's how every positive change into the world has taken place. Yeah. So when we actually put some energy there, and Black Moon Lilith is about that, is about like the energy that comes from our core. And again, another quote from Martin Luther King, because this one is very precise for this conjunction now, Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. So this is the moment now. It's a moment for us to actually endure, to strengthen. It's like strengthening our muscles, our structure, so that we can have a better grip for the moments ahead, where we will have a more liberating moment, yeah? in this trine, this fire trine, Black Moon Lilith and Saturn are also doing a trine to the North Node in Leo and to Uranus in Aries. And Black Moon Lilith specifically will do the trine to the nodes now entering into September, and then in October is her trine, the exact of her trine to Uranus. Yeah, it's already kind of there, but it's going to intensify for sure in these moments. And we'll be talking about it here in CIA through articles, lives, and whichever means we find are proper to do it, and to keep you also updated with that. But basically, very important now to have present, yeah, is that we are heading to that. And one thing is, as I mentioned, yeah, something about Black Moon Lilith, an example is David Bell, French guy that started the Le Parcours, yeah, which is similar to free running, yeah, but is this movement of breaking the laws of the urban space and breaking the laws of physics, yeah, through this art of moving, of being able to run in a city, yeah, throughout the city, and escape from danger and go through places that you wouldn't think of, like whatever, you know, jumping on a roof and going out the window and things like that. So it's very much about Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius as well, which is David Bell's Black Moon Lilith, of course, but especially the trine to Uranus. Yeah, his Black Moon Lilith is also has also a contact to Uranus in his chart. So that's gonna be our like the peak of our Le Parcours moment of this transit of Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. Yeah, it's gonna be in October. But the thing is, we gotta endure now. We gotta kind of accept the limits that we need to accept, in the sense of owning ourselves more, and perhaps that means also, you know, having to align better how we deal with our own drives inside, yeah, how we own it, how we endure the destructive impulses, and actually converting to strengthening ourselves and turn it into muscle, yeah, into strengthening our bones and muscles, so that we actually are stronger and have a better grip as we do our Le Parcours ahead. Yeah, and this ahead is very, very soon, very much there already as well. But it's going to be more intense in October. Yeah, but it's already there. So important to keep in mind as we are going through this super strong years of transformation in humanity, and in this very moment, important to keep in mind. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So that's the thing. We just got to keep moving forward. But it's not the keep moving forward in the hectic, disrespectful manner that the mainstream corporate media and the system, the matrix, tries to keep people, just running without realizing it and without being in touch with themselves. No, it's about actually moving forward in connecting more and more to ourselves and moving ahead with owning ourselves and getting to know our value and our talent, as the North Node is in Leo now, and keep on moving forward, doing the steps we can along the way, and keeping the faith. This is a moment, Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, that it could be kind of like the dark side of it, let's say, the just reactive response that could be just no faith, Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn, just kind of like no faith, yeah. But it's not about that. It's actually about this strengthening moment and actually keeping the faith. Yeah. And the fiery trine helps us with that. It can also help us with that. The important thing is for us to keep somehow our bodies in movement, because this is a crucial thing about Black Moon Lilith. We gotta be in touch with our bodies. We gotta do things in a way that our bodies feel integrated. Yeah, that we integrate our bodies more in our experience in a better way. That we listen to our bodies, to our needs, and integrate it. Yeah. So creative actions and physical actions, very important right now to also to get rid of the tensions that might be there. And that's sort of like, oh, you know, the most, let's say, pessimistic vision that could be there, though it's not really I wouldn't highlight that too much, but it's also there, you know, it's the fear of, oh yeah, you know, as Julia was saying, like this thing of kind of like everybody being hypered up by the fire, but at the same time with the fear, you know, oh, nuclear war and stuff. It's about not connecting to that fear, not letting that fear drive us at all. It's really about owning and taking our stand, owning ourselves and taking our stand, but with faith. And so, well, Lepicur, yeah, as to enlighten our imagination with what this moment is about, also symbolically. Yeah, the art of movement, the art of moving is the physical discipline of training to overcome any obstacle within one's path by adapting one's movements to the environment in the most efficient way possible. Mike Schwab's definition. And he also defines free running, a similar art, as a discipline that evolved from parkour that focuses on creativity and self-expression to find one's own way rather than emphasize efficiency. So then it's like going beyond just being efficient to survive, yeah, which is already important, but it's actually going beyond that. It's actually going for the creative expression that one can have along the way, yeah, free running. Through our words and actions, yeah, through our art, our stand that we can take in so many ways. It doesn't need to be a formal art or you know, or just but really how we are in the world, basically, yeah, as human beings, and basically how we are with ourselves. There's a moment now also, this conjunction of Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn is about tuning in with ourselves. Like if we are already in touch and know already, okay, which are my values, yeah, what are my values and what do I stand for? Well, now is a moment to really take that stand. And at the same time, if the person does not have it that clear, is a moment to actually to tune in, you know, and actually feel, what is it? What is it that I actually that I would really stand for? You know, what really matters to me that I can actually then own from the inside out. Yeah, it's also a moment for that. And with that, a moment for dealing with our impulses, as I was saying before. Dealing with the drives we have is a moment somehow to educate ourselves in this visceral level as well, in whatever one might be needing, yeah? But to actually align our own energy, own it, and for that, movement is very important. Having the body in movement is very important, helps a lot, because some things are processed at that level. Is not really our rational minds that are gonna sort out. But keeping our bodies, you know, in movement, so our bodies feel that, you know, they're able to act and to move and to defend and to affirm, and that we feel better. We sure feel more energized and more confident. And from this quality of being, then it's much easier also to really sense, what do I stand for? What's important to me? Yeah, because this alignment is crucial as we are heading then to the period of Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn. It's going to be already another situation. Is then we go into Earth is another matter. Yeah, our positions must be already integrated inside when we get there. So here are some contexts also for the Agencia. Yeah, as Julia said, we also have an Instagram for the Agencia, a pretty cool one, if you guys want to follow us there. And now, Julia, I mean, we can talk about the some more about the conjunction, like throughout the different houses, if you want, or how are we with time?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for that. Wow, great information, and so very inspirational as well. Man, you know, I mean, I heard some of this, our members have as well, because you did the webinar back in February for us. So, I mean, really good to hear right now as well, you know, that we've got to make a stand. There's so many things. I went to bed last night with these very thoughts in my head, and my husband came home as well, you know, sort of going, the world is nuts, you know, like there's just so many awful things going on, and you kind of go to, you know, we both went to bed with this kind of, you know, thoughts in our heads, like, you know, what do you do? I was, you know, watching this little video, you know, after scrolling Facebook for a bit. A friend had shared a post about a movie on Netflix called What the Health. Some of you might have seen it, but, you know, I just kind of saw the trailer, and what it was showing was that, you know, the American Diabetes Association, or big health corporations around the world, and how corrupt they are. Right? They're sponsored by the very things that they say we shouldn't do. That's just one example of, you know, the awareness that is being raised, that we are in the end very aware of, or getting more aware of, but what are we doing about it? Are we stopping our connection to these things? You know, like sort of, are we then, you know, we find out something about it, but are we still going to that association? Or, you know, my own sort of thing about, you know, banks and the corporations and how corrupt they are, it's everywhere. So with the you know, Jupiter at this head of this grand what is it, the kite, and as you were saying, how important it is for, you know, to hold on and stand by what we believe is the justice or the right way, as with Black Moon Lilith as part of, you know, on the wings, you know, there's the eclipse on one side, Black Moon Lilith and Saturn there, and you know, Jupiter there. So it sort of really ties up everything that you've said to us today, you know. And I mean, it's nice to be included in that amazing bunch of people.
Yeah, for sure. You see, guys, that's the thing, you know, the CIA, actually the cosmic one, of course. Yeah, it started actually by a Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius, obviously. Yeah, so that's
well, you know, I mean, I always thought that what I wanted to do with astrology was not from the regular side, because I saw it as happening in, you know, the smaller sort of community. But, you know, again, the CIA was born into social media, so it was our gift to sort of go beyond that. And, you know, it is international and all that type of thing. So not that I planned it that way. I didn't know. I just knew I had to do this with the astrology and give it a really, you know, this name belonged to astrologers, and, you know, let's show the world that, you know, what astrology really is. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't done before. There was lots of great astrology going on, but again, you know, moving it out there into the world and getting a lot more people tapped into it as well. So that's been my BML job. But yeah, now both of them are right on my ascendant. So do you want to say something about, yeah, I mean, Black Moon Lilith through the houses for you know, people? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So guys, if you're already acquainted with your chart and stuff, it's easier. But if you're not that acquainted, we can mention like, oh, if you have this ascendant, then it's probably in this house, but it might not be, because it depends on the degrees. This is always important to say, because, you know, it's like, it's better if you actually have your chart, and you can get it done in our website of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. You can get it done for free there. Yeah. So
yeah, I can put a link in there for free charts. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we encourage everyone I mean, this is, you know, if you, again, there's people coming, new people all the time to, you know, astrology and that type of thing. So, yeah, get your chart, start learning.
Yeah, it's very good to have your chart.
Confusing, and that, I mean, I talked about this last week. It can be, you know, quite confusing for a lot of people, but, you know, get a backup now and then, get a mentor, get a reading so you can tie it all in together now and then. And it's well worth it, because otherwise you're floating around trying to work it all out yourself, and you will get lost. So, you know, anyway, that's a bit of Black Moon Lilith and Saturn. Find out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Get your chart and own it, and you get some really cool info for your life. Really cool.
Yes.
That's why we are so passionate about astrology as astrologers, because it's really worth it.
We see it working all the time. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was with 2 agents last night, and we decided, it's something I've always wanted to do, is get a news stream of astrology happening in the world. So we're starting that next week, like a tie-up of the week that's been astrologically. So just quick kind of snippets of, you know, just what's going on in the world and how that relates to big things happening.
We talked about that before, so it's happening. Oh, I'm in to help out.
Yeah. So we'll work it out some more. So that's something to look forward to. It's just, I know, I mean, astrologers individually do that all over the place, but yeah, we need a stream. We need a stream.
We need. Yeah, I'm totally in Agent 12. Count on me.
So there you go. That's our Black Moon Lilith Saturn information stream. Perfect. Excellent. Oh, it's a joy, really. A joy. Yeah, cool.
We're doing some similar things in Agencia as well. So it's, we're on the mission. We're on the mission.
That's right. Good. All right, off to you. Over to you, I should say.
Okay, so if you have Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius ascendant, then you probably, depending on the degrees, that's the thing, you probably will have this conjunction in your first house. So if you have it in your first house, what's that? Well, it's really like this affirmation becomes very personal, becomes very much to do with integrating and oneself. It's like, it's very important for the kind of like renewing, updating, and further integrating one's own sense of self. It's very crucial, this moment, the affirmations one does regarding whatever it is one believes, the stand one can take in this moment, is very important. And of course, because it is also the house that relates to the body, is also important to be aware of that. You know, it also like the stand we take, like with our health or something like that, it could also be important. But and that to have the body movement, because of, you know, Saturn in the first is already like dense, and then Black Moon Lilith is very liberating, but then she conjunct Saturn, so it's like a moment to integrate and to like really kind of like fortify and strengthen one's affirmation and the health as well. So if it happens in your second house, so if you have Scorpio rising, Scorpio ascendant, it's probably gonna be second house. If you have it in your second house, then it's about how you deal with money, and how you deal with possessions, and how you structure yourself, and regarding your material life. Also your sense of being worthy, because it's very much related to how we deal with the values we receive. It's also related, of course, nowadays in the world we are living, it's not just about, you know, one doing you know, the inner work and stuff. Still, there are some things that are fucked up in the world about that, how people have access to money and to goods and to comfort and stuff. So it's not I mentioned this because I've been seeing also like the importance of taking the, you know, that guilt feeling that sometimes people have, that, oh, they're not being good enough, they're not doing good enough. And it's actually like the system is fucked up. We got to change the system. That's why we got to all take our stand in the way each one feels right. Yeah, for oneself, it's a very personal thing, but we gotta do the move, yeah, to change things, because it's really not really fair. It's not that it's all fair. Yeah, it's not that, but people sometimes kind of beat themselves up because I'm not doing good enough, but it's the system is fucked up. We got to change that. But from the inside out, and enjoying the life we are living at this moment, but heading to a strong transformation in our world. And so about how we deal then with money and stuff, with goods, it's a moment to structure, and to somehow it might be important to kind of retain a bit, to concentrate, yeah, and not spend much in this moment, because later on you can enjoy the Black Moon Lilith and Saturn trine Uranus. Yeah, we're still going to have another exact of Saturn trine Uranus happening in November. So this is a moment where you can enjoy, if you can now perhaps, you know, save some money or kind of restrain a bit, yeah, to take care of the structure, yeah, to be more responsible and take care of the structure, so you can then open up. It's like contraction for expansion. And that for every house, but now, you know, this came to mind as we are talking about like dealing with money and material goods. And if it happens in your third house, if you happen to have Libra rising, Libra ascendant, it might be then in your third house. And if it's in your third house, it's about then your word and your thoughts, your expression, yeah, how you express what you say and also what you hear. So Black Moon Lilith in the third house, when she's transiting there, it can happen that the person kind of might hear some things that are not so good, or might learn about things that were not that cool, you know, but it comes up, then you hear about it. Yeah, you get to know if there was something weird, some corruption, something tricky, well, you might get to know about it. But if it's not really that the case, it is still a moment of somehow reintegrating and checking like how you speak and how you actually digest the things you hear. It's a moment to be aware, not to be just reactive, you know, when you hear things, but actually process them and let your body sense what's going on, but not just react. Yeah. And actually digest, so you can actually do something more interesting with the information you get and stuff. And also how you speak, not to be too harsh, because the tendency is to speak out, you know, kind of a speak out. And it's probably necessary, yeah. It's a moment that you got to take your stand with your word, yeah. It's like walk your talk, and also talk as you walk, you know. You might be kind of called to talk, yeah, to say something, to affirm. So be aware of what you affirm, because it's a strong commitment, but it can give you a lot of strength to your words. Yeah, just be careful what you say, what your intentions are. With the fire trine, the tendency is good, but just be aware if you are saying what you actually really want to. If it's also yeah, okay, I'll leave it at that, the third house, because if I go into all the details of the possibilities, we'll take the whole night here and the whole day in Australia. So if we then move into the fourth house, then you probably have Virgo ascendant. Yeah, you might have a Virgo ascendant. And if you have a Virgo ascendant, you might have it happening in your fourth house, which is then about your own emotional structure. Yeah, first of all, and also your house and your intimate reality, you know, your private life, how the people you actually live with or hang out with in a more intimate dimension of your life. Yeah. But basically with your own self, it's like something from the inside out, because if you have Sagittarius in your fourth house, then It means that somehow your roots, your family, you know, your inheritance might come from somewhere else. Sometimes it can be that, you know, the family comes from, is like a family of immigrants or something. One of the possibilities of a Sagittarius in the 4th house. And you might really need to get in touch with that, to kind of own it in some way, to do some movement, some statement, some act to connect to that in some way, to honor that in some way. You also this need of actually taking your stand with your family, be it for your family, be it before the members of your family, yeah, in your intimate life, but most of all, your own emotional structure. And one thing is, because Sagittarius in the 4th house can be very, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's a moment to kind of like to, you know, ease the anxiety. Because Sagittarius can be, you know, like, okay, breathing, you know, Gemini, the opposite sign, is like breathe in and out all the time, constantly. And Sagittarius is like, one big breath and it should be enough. I shouldn't have to breathe again, you know, it's like already there, you know. So it's a moment with this conjunction that it's also good to kind of work on that, you know, the thing of like the impulses, the drives, a moment to integrate and to kind of sort it out and align yourself and actually take that energy into how you affirm yourself out into the world on the other side, yeah, of the chart, which is then the 10th house, out into the world. But for that, you need to breathe, you need to, you know, kind of like give some limits to that. Sagittarius with Black Moon Lilith there, yeah? Then join Saturn and then align with that. If it happens in your 5th house, it has to do with your affirmation, the stand you take regarding your talent, regarding your creative expression. It can also, if you have kids, it can also relate to your kids and their stand. Yeah, they might be taking their stand in some way in the world, like they might be in a moment of owning themselves in that sense. Yeah. In a way, one thing also to remember is that Black Moon Lilith, because it is so visceral and it's like kind of like it's below or beyond words and images, it has like this instinctive perception. It can be very avant-garde as well, yeah, Black Moon Lilith herself, yeah, depending on how she is positioned, you know, in the astrological chart, she can also mean that, yeah, being avant-garde. So the kids, you know, your son, your daughters might be also in this moment of somehow like daring to take their stand in some sort of different way. Yeah, that's not really like, you know, not just going with the hype. Yeah, it's an important moment of structuring as well. And if it's kind of like if he or she is kind of being a bit depressed and stuff, is a matter of you know, moving the body and owning what's important to you, what's true to you, what matters to you, being in touch with that, to go beyond, you know, to break through. And if it's happening in your 6th house, and is an affirmation about discipline, about your own health, about, it's very important to take care of your liver. Yeah, now is a good moment before the next eclipse, even as we have the moon, you know, we already passed the full moon and it's gonna go into the new moon. Is an interesting moment to do some sort of liver cleansing before the conjunction, for instance. Yeah, something, whatever, some, you know, drinking green juice or lemon in the morning, you know, whatever you find that is right for you, you know, but doing some sort of detox can be very good. So you can reaffirm, you know, your stand with your own health, and especially regarding the liver, because Sagittarius is also related to liver, also to legs. Yeah, also to legs. But liver is something that's usually very important to just that, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of doing some sort of detoxing. but also about your routine, about your craft, how you practice your craft on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's a moment also to take your stand in your where you work, with the people you work on a day-to-day basis. It's also important. With your co-workers. And if this conjunction, and I said the fifth house, I was saying for people that possibly have their ascendant in Leo, okay? If you have a Leo ascendant, it probably happens in your fifth house, the conjunction of Black Moon Lilith and Saturn. If you have Cancer ascendant, then it probably is happening in your sixth house, the house I was just talking about, health and your work practice and co-working situation. If you happen to have a Sagittarius, Gemini rising, Gemini ascendant, then it probably is happening in your seventh house, the opposite house, the house of relating, the house of the other, the house of marriage, of the partnership, of also your associates, yeah, and the other to you, also your clients. So in some way you might be presented, yeah, from the other, yeah, with that stand that the other is taking the stand, and also that makes you take your stand regarding the relationship or the relation you have, the whatever binds you together, yeah. So it's a moment of taking your stand, relating your relations, your relationships, the people you are associated with. Very, very important. And also if you actually do some sort of affirmation regarding that, you know, be it a contract, be it, you know, just, you know, some sort of pact or contract or affirmation, yeah. Beware that it's a strong one, that it's a visceral one, yeah. So align yourself well and tune to what's true to you so you can affirm it wholeheartedly, and then it's a strong thing. If you happen to have a Taurus rising, Taurus ascendant, you possibly have it happening in your eighth house. And if it's happening in your eighth house, that means that this affirmation, yeah, the stand you are being called to take now, it's something that comes from a very deep level in yourself that might be actually somehow connecting you. It's probably a moment that is very important to kind of to look into yourself in a deeper level. You know, if you do some sort of therapy, is a strong moment in the therapy, a strong turning point moment, yeah, where you can actually also, you know, kind of cross some frontiers there, yeah. It's a moment that you can cross some frontiers in your own inner alchemy, because the eighth house is also the house of self knowing and self diving into one's own secrets and alchemy, yeah, inner alchemy as well. And because it's also the house of the money and material goods that are shared with another, yeah, the second house to the seventh, yeah, to the house of the other. So it's also about it's also called like the house of inheritance and stuff, because it's the money that comes from the other somehow, that is shared with the other. So it's also very important to see how this area is, yeah, the money that is shared, like if it's everything is, you know, well aligned, and if it's, you know, if you are on the same note, if you are on the same values, you know, if you have the same values actually, and then you might also need to take some sort of stand or you know, kind of renew your agreements on that. So that for the 8th house, these are some of the possibilities. Another thing is then if you have Aries rising, Aries ascendant, you probably have it happening in your 9th house, yeah, 9th house. Well, then this thing of like taking your stand and owning it, owning your truth is like so crucial. It might also be related somehow to some sort of contact with the like international contact with other countries or something, or some traveling. But that could also kind of feel kind of like, oh, there could be either some difficulty for that, or actually a very strong call. With the fire trine, I would say the tendency, though it depends on each individual chart, the tendency would be something quite interesting, yeah, something that can really kind of really open new horizons, as this is the trine to Uranus and to the North Node and stuff. So it can also, but it relates to one's own affirmation of what one's own values, one's own stand, because that is the house of Sagittarius. That's why I'm saying like this is then like even reinforce, we can reinforce what we already said in this case. And also, if you have some legal matters going on, things regarding justice, you know, is the moment also to like put things straight and take your stand and own your responsibility, but affirm your own ground. Yeah, take your own stand. Very important. One thing also interesting to mention is this conjunction. Well, in a few months, in November, Black Moon Lilith will go into Saturn's sign. Yeah, Capricorn. So some of some things which are happening now, this affirmation of this that we do in this very moment, it kind of reverberates, yeah, it kind of extends somehow into that period of Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn later on, and that's going to happen from November 2017 to August 2018, yeah. So this is also something to keep in mind. Somehow it has this reverberating effect. So it's very crucial, no? Very crucial. And then if you happen to have then Pisces rising, if you're Pisces ascendant, then it is probably happening in your 10th house. Then it's also something very, is a moment that you got to take your stand in the world. There's no other way. Yeah, it's like you are really called to do it. There's no other way. You got to do that for your own career, for your own stand in the world, basically. Yeah, you got to own that. And it might not be all so, you know, oh, it's like it might kind of steer things up a bit, because Black Moon Lilith in the 10th house tends to do that. You know, it's like the person is not, has that edgy bit, has that, can be the avant-garde, can be the, you know, the just not just, you know, the kind of pattern, you know, kind of like a mushy, warm pattern, you know. No, it's about something that really steers up, and but that can be very interesting. Yeah, that can be very interesting, that can be very important for your career and for your satisfaction, really. Yeah, because the 10th house is also what we long for, what means to us, you know, the utmost to us. Yeah, the top of the chart. Yeah. So to really own that, to really take our stand in the world is very important and crucial, like for one's own satisfaction. And if you happen to have an Aquarius rising, and then possibly the conjunction is happening in your 11th house, yeah? The house of groups and projects for the future. And that means that, well, you might be experiencing that in the collective moves, in the groups you are in. You might take that stand collectively with a group of people. and the stand you take has a lot to do with also how you are dealing with being in the group, yeah, how it is for you to be there, and with your friends as well. It's also the house that can also tell us about our friends, how we relate to our friends, and how our friends might also be experiencing that moment, yeah. So you might feel more connected to people that are actually taking their stand in some sort of way. You're experiencing that your friends are in a very strong move with that. Also the affirmation, yeah, the faith you put into your future projects is very important now. Don't let yourself be kind of like, oh no, you know, like Saturn, Black Moon Lilith is going to be all kind of like, you know, darken the optimism of the Sagittarius, you know, and kind of like be kind of scared. No, remember that what we talked before, like it's about building dikes of courage, yeah, and faith, and then structuring well, you know, the things that you want, the projects that you are engaged that truly mean something to you, yeah, and put your faith in there and put your guts also there. And if you happen to have the Capricorn rising, it probably is happening, it possibly is happening in your 12th house. Well, then this is a moment, this stand you take, the most crucial aspect of it, that is enhanced for you specifically, is your stand with the greater universe, yeah, the greater force, the divine nature, the force, yeah, the force, the divine light, yeah, whatever means God, yeah, however you like to call, like this greater force that has us all here, yeah. So how you relate spiritually, what stand you take, yeah, what is your responsibility, and how you own it inside out, and how you listen to yourself, and how you can then access somehow some truths about yourself, some things that can actually come from this connection, yeah, a moment to be aligned, you know, with your meditation, tune in, also a moment to keep the body moving, so that, you know, the sensations, impressions that somehow come from the beyond, yeah, that they're not just, you know, this kind of oppressing thing. No, it's a moment to, you gotta, if you feel that, remember to align yourself, you know, put your body in movement, so you can be more, you know, aligned and open to connect to the beyond, because it's a moment of your own connection, your own truth with the beyond. This is what's crucial for you now, yeah. Is it like some other people, you know, might be experiencing it more like in the opposite house. The 6th house is about practical day to day, you know, what am I doing here, and what's with my co-workers and my health and stuff, very practical. But in the 12th house is more about like really your deep connection with the beyond, yeah. So this is the crucial thing about your stand. It might not be that obvious outside, it might be, but it's basically how you are with your own truth with the beyond. And so we did all the 12 houses, guys. I hope.
That's mammoth 55. Wow. I hope everyone appreciates this time you've put into this. So, but it's off the top of your head, isn't it? That's what happens. You know it so well. I mean, I was thinking about people I know, and especially family and stuff for them, and it's exactly what's going on. Like my son is building a stage theatre in Canada at a festival, and he's an Aquarius rising, so in his 11th house, you know, big highlight of what his future is all about. He wants to be a festival organizer. So anyway, it's just so I hope, I mean, anyone that's come in kind of a bit late, in order to hang on, I'm just trying to see on my screen there how we're both, I hope we're both, I'm trying to get us both, oh there you go, we're both back on the same level. Anyway, what am I saying? Yes, if anyone's come in late, Vanessa was just talking about Black Moon Lilith and Saturn conjunction through the houses. So you'll have to rewatch again, really, to get the gist of the whole thing. Because once you come in live, you can't, because we haven't finished the video. Once the video is finished and uploaded, you can watch it again and, you know, forward and stop and all that kind of stuff. But if you come in at this time, that's all we can do. So sorry about that, but thanks for that. I hope everyone's got, you know, some great information out of that. Wow, it's left us very inspired to build those, what did you call them? The
dikes of courage.
Dikes, yeah, dikes of courage, and yeah, build ourselves up, strengthen ourselves, and courage that's a really big word, isn't it, for this Black Moon, Lilith, Saturn, and the Leo, of course, the Leo, the courage, the courage to stand up for who we really are, what we believe in, again, all of those things, and taking action, you know, the Grand Fire Trine again, you know, the Aries action, the Mars is in Leo now, the creative action, and the you know, what we just talked about with Saturn and Black Moon and Lilith in Sagittarius. So interesting months coming ahead, as you said as well, with the trines of Black Moon and Lilith to Uranus that we'll watch out for, and on the node, what was it, the trine to the node as well, that will be coming up. So gosh, see how I told you it would be an hour easily. You know, we always think, you know, oh, we'll just take 40 minutes or something to do this stuff, but it's always longer. So what we'll do, there's more live coming up next week. Now, I've got a bit of a special one with Nadia Agent 777 in New York, who is going to be talking about the physics of eclipses. And she's an astrologer physicist. So how cool is that? She's got a few articles. I might feature some during the week. So that's going to be next Friday. So it seems as though Fridays, or for my Fridays, Thursday nights in the US, is the usual time that we will always have a live session here. And so keep up to date with what's going on, or tune in, or of course, all the videos will be are always available in this thread anyway. And having said that, you know, Vanessa's given us some great time today, some great insight, and mostly, I think, inspiration for what's going on with Black Moon, Lilith, and Saturn. So thank you very much, 55. You're a very special agent.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and sharing what you've researched and all that type of thing. And having said that, for all of you out there, we, as the CIA, I talked briefly before, we've always got new ideas, and to implement them, you know, takes someone's time and energy and input and all that type of thing. So we've had a membership program on our website for a year. And we have not as many members as we'd like, but of course you know, it's going well. There's always more coming, but in the end, as we kind of suggest, I suppose, if you're learning astrology in bits and pieces, it's very good to have a hub that you belong to, so you can, you know, ask questions, find out more. You know, we don't do Facebook readings. You know, like, we don't sort of, you know, go into that or buy into that, in the sense that we haven't got time for that. Okay, so that's what our membership is for. So for anyone that wants to, you know, join the membership, there's a lot of benefits that you get from that, and of course, the agents, you know, behind the agency doing all the work. But we've also started a Patreon drive in order to encourage more of you to join us or support our network and our work, and also so we can do more, because the Patreon drive allows you to sponsor per month. So you don't have to do like a lump sum, you know, kind of membership payment, you know, so you can pay by the month. And that's a lot more, you know, manageable for people. So we've started that. So I'd love to see more of you, of course, support the CIA. You know, like, we have been around for a while. We've been doing some great stuff. We've encouraged a lot of astrology out there, and, you know, people doing like us, with us, all that type of thing. So we really need your support as well, because there's more things in the air. And again, yeah, we very much appreciate it. Anyway, so I'll let you go, and I'll put the links up for there. So stay tuned for next week. Mostly keep calm and cool during these eclipses, you know, Mercury going retrograde. So, you know, refocus. If things are unclear for you, this 3-week time now with Mercury retrograde will be about the refocus, the rethinking, the reintegrating all the information that you've been taking in about the eclipses as well, you know, so, and what do they mean to you? So reintegrating. Big decisions might be, let's say, put upon some of us, like, again, like I said earlier, quick decisions, people in sort of crisis or whatever, having to do that. So, you know, acting without thinking is perhaps not a great thing right now, or will be. So be very careful of what you activate in this time as well. And with that, I'm going to leave you. So thank you, 55.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We will see you soon. All right. And thank you, everyone else, for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And we will see you next week. Okay. All the best, everyone. Let me just see.